This is Sarah Squires bringing you behind the headlines in today's edition of WYO Today Newsroom. Today I am joined in the studio by Tisha Tuttle. She's with the Wyoming Senior Citizens Inc. Welcome to the show, Tisha.
Amazing. Thank you for having me.
You know, we've talked about this open enrollment season in the past, but it sounds like there are some new things that folks need to keep in mind here when it comes to their health insurance. And I'm wondering if we can go over some of the new things, but first, we probably should explain what is open enrollment to begin with.
Open enrollment is for anybody that is already enrolled in Medicare. If you have a prescription drug plan or an Advantage plan, open enrollment is your season from October 15th through December 7th, when you can make those changes to make sure that that plan still fits your needs for health insurance and cost.
Okay. So this is the season where you can try to figure out what is going to give you the most bang for your buck. So if you're unhappy with your plan, maybe your prescriptions have changed over the last year and you're thinking maybe this isn't the best deal for me now. Now is really the time where you can look into the different plans that are out there and figure out whether it's time to make a change. So that is an important time for a lot of folks. What you do now is going to impact your bottom line going forward through the year here. And, since we talked last, it seems like maybe some of the players in this healthcare game have kind of shifted gears. So the options are a little bit different than when we talked before. One of the biggest kind of headlines here that I think we should kind of unpack has to do with United Healthcare having pulled its Medicare Advantage plans out of most counties in Wyoming. What should we know about that, Tisha?
Absolutely. United Healthcare pulled a lot of their plans out of many counties, mostly because their network of providers was not sustainable for the counties they were trying to serve. And if they don't have a stable network, much like a radio network, if you don't have a stable signal, you're not going to get much for service. And that's where they're shifting. So United Healthcare pulled where they're not being or providing the most service. And that leaves some of our beneficiaries that might have been enrolled in that plan, maybe without a plan if they don't make changes during this time period. So does not mean you don't have a Medicare Advantage plan option. We have Blue Cross Blue Shield that is bringing an Advantage plan to Wyoming, and it's called WYO Blue. And there's some coverage differences, but all the coverages stay the same for the most part, but the cost is where you find that difference. So this Blue Cross Blue Shield or WYO Blue plan has cost or copays, much like your United Healthcare plan would. However, some of them might be a little bit bigger. Your copays, instead of a $250 ambulance ride, might be $500, but you have better coverage because you have a better network. So you get what you pay for with this plan, which is better coverage than you might have on that previous United Healthcare plan. That cost is fairly similar, and it's different for each individual. So we'd be happy to unpack some of that together, because every person's medical and cost needs are different. We can do that by a case-by-case basis. But those individuals that were previously enrolled in that United Healthcare plan will have what's known as a special enrollment period. Because that plan is leaving through no fault of your own, you have that special enrollment period, which gives you until the end of February of 2026 to make changes.
Okay. So if you are not using a United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plan right now, that means that these dates, October 15th to December 7th, are important for you, because that is the time when you can take a look at the options and make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck out of your Medicare Advantage plan. If you are currently using United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, that means that you are going to have a little bit more time to look into things, because that coverage is ending. So you'll have through February, which is a little bit longer than open enrollment here, ending on December 7th. So if you have a loved one who's currently on Medicare and you have some questions, you want to maybe stick up for them and say, hey, now is the time to start looking into these things. And every time I think we talk about this, it seems like, holy smokes, this is pretty complicated stuff. sometimes, you can be the sharpest pencil in the box and still have questions, still be a little uncertain about whether you're making the right choice for you and your health care. And that is where Wyoming Senior Citizens Inc. comes in, because you guys are there to kind of help sort this stuff out. So I'm wondering, Tisha, if you can tell folks how they can take advantage of your services and what they ought to be, bringing with them or kind of have in pocket when they're trying to get some help and just go over, the best options for them.
Absolutely. Our office in Riverton is located at 106 East Adams, which is dangerously close to the breadboard. I can smell their bread in the morning. So 106 West Adams, and you can call 307-856-6880, and you can make an appointment. We have 4 staff members that we are blessed with in Riverton that can help during open enrollment with just regular drug plans. And we have 2 in our Riverton office that can help those with Medicare Advantage plans as well. To get the most out of your appointment, bring your Medicare number and the list of any medications you take. I am a huge advocate for, I want to make sure the drugs that you're taking are covered by the plan that we choose. There's no such thing as a silly question. If there's a Medicare question, we're happy to face those together.
Yeah. And along, I think, with that list of medications, if you, in the last few years, maybe you had a conversation with your doctor about another drug and you said, what, I can't afford it. It doesn't fit my plan. Bring that with you too, because you might be able to find something that gets you some better coverage and you can, get onto that medication that your doctor feels is best for you, even if, in the past, it really wasn't affordable.
On the plan that you had.
Yeah, let's look into that and see what we can find out for you. So one of the other things, as we're talking about kind of these little windows of where you can find a good deal, where you can take a look at your health insurance options and figure out what's best for you, we've got one more on the books here, and it is, I don't have dates for people because it is focused on your own birthday. So tell us what's up with the birthday rule, Tisha.
The birthday rule, it starts on the day of your birthday. And your birthday starts the clock of 63 days. I don't know who came up with the number, but we'll thank them for it someday, I'm sure. 63 days after your birthday, where you can gift yourself a lower premium for your Medicare supplement plan. And that is going from the same coverage or less. So a lot of individuals that are maybe grandfathered into that F supplement plan that's no longer sold anymore, they quit selling it in 2020. And like a classic car, what happens to those costs when they quit selling them? So sometimes they can increase, and those plans have increased year over year. And some of those beneficiaries might benefit from changing to a G plan, paying a deductible once a year, and still saving almost $300 in a year, even after paying that deductible.
Wow. Yeah.
So there's a lot of cost savings to be had. And during that birthday rule, that 63 days, you have what's known as guaranteed issue, where you don't go through medical underwriting. There's no company that can tell you no. That's the joy and the blessing of that birthday rule, is getting people the coverage that they need without breaking your wallet.
Yeah, as we stare down the birthdays coming up, there's something to celebrate, but we, sometimes we get a little groan in our minds and say, oh, well, now what are they going to say about how much my insurance costs? So this is a great way for folks to shop around for supplemental plans without being, afraid they're going to say no, without having to fill out all those questionnaires about your medical conditions and, pre-existing conditions and that kind of thing. So that's a great opportunity. It's a little extra gift, I would say, for your birthday, because I think that those costs really add up over time. So maybe it's not that much a month or that much per, visit or prescription or whatever. But, regardless of what part of your healthcare you're talking about, saving a little bit here and there adds up up over time. And we really want to make sure that we're taking advantage of the best plans out there for us and for our loved ones. If we think it's, confusing and complicated, we're not alone. We absolutely aren't. So one of the things, I know your office has been really busy. Once we cross that October 15th mark for open enrollment season, you guys have really been taking on a lot of appointments and phone calls, and people are taking advantage of the help that we have here at Wyoming Senior Citizens Inc. But also, I think we're getting a little bit of this residual effect from the government shutdown, where some of those helplines, as much as we all love trying to call the federal government to get help, they're not necessarily being able to serve us in every way that they were in the past because of the shutdown. So how's it going for you guys at your office, Tisha?
Send coffee and cookies. No, our phones truly have been ringing almost off the hook, in all honesty. What a great team that we have, that every person answers that phone call just happy to be there. And that call volume is huge, but it's what we're there for. We'll do as much as we can with every individual that we have. We have, in Wyoming, created a callback list. So once our offices are full or booked for open enrollment, we enlist what's known as our callback list. And we have volunteers across the state. So you may get a phone call from that callback list from somebody in Jackson or in Cheyenne. But those are volunteers that will utilize your name and phone number and say, hey, John, I heard that our office wasn't able to take care of you, but let me step in. Those are our volunteers. And you can request to be put on that callback list, and one of our volunteers will get to you as soon as possible. Once that callback list reaches a certain amount, we will generally defer to 1-800-MEDICARE. I don't want somebody to go into the next year with the wrong plan because we didn't get to call you back. So we utilize the 1-800-MEDICARE. And right now, they are not taking those appointments for enrollments because of the government shutdown. A lot of those staff members have just kind of been furloughed at the moment. So hopefully we can see that open back up during open enrollment so that those beneficiaries can be served if and when we get loaded.
Yeah. Well, I guess add that to the list of reasons we're hopeful that our congressional leaders are going to come to some agreement here and get things back opened up for us. But truly, it's wonderful to see that we have such a great local resource. It can be hard to sit on hold and wait for the federal government, and maybe still be a little bit confused when you walk away too. But we've got folks here at Wyoming Senior Citizens Inc. who can help you through all of those steps in the process. And they're local folks right here in Riverton, serving Wyoming residents, and you can feel confident that you're getting the best advice possible when you work with Wyoming Senior Citizens Inc. And it's a free service for people.
Absolutely. The government can shut down, but they can't stop me from, being a Wyoming person, helping a Wyoming person. They can make all the rules they want. We'll button up our bootstraps and just get to work like we always do.
Oh, that's wonderful. I always tell people to pull out those envelopes, grab that piece of scratch paper, and make sure that you take down this phone number. So if you have questions about your own Medicare supplement, Advantage plans, some of these different seasons that are upon us here where you can make some changes, or if you just have general questions about health insurance, as a senior citizen, they're here to help. And that phone number is 307-856-6880. So you can take advantage of our local folks, this wonderful resource that can help folks navigate through what can be a little bit intimidating. But we got you guys here to help. So that's such a wonderful thing to celebrate. And as always, thank you so much for sitting down with us and explaining these things, Tisha. It's so helpful for so many families.
Absolutely. We're happy to be of service. We're happy to empower those on how to help yourself. So if you are a knowledgeable individual, know how to use a computer, and want to lend a helping hand, stop by. I'd love to show you how you can make an impact in your community too. Years and times like this, when we work together, we can really achieve more.
Yeah. And, if you fall into that category where you make this change and you say, you know what, I'm going to be $300 richer at the end of the year, you can start dreaming about what you're going to spend your loot on for sure, too.
Indeed. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. That number, one more time, folks, is 307-856-6880. You can connect with folks at the Wyoming Senior Citizens Inc. if you've got questions about your Medicare Advantage supplement, just general questions about health insurance. So thank you, Tisha.
Awesome. Thank you.